Hi, welcome to Hendricks How-Tos. I'm Jody Kaylor, Hendricks coach and clairvoyant healer. And I've given the title for this 5 to 10 minute how-to, 5 feelings and a kink. And we'll get to the kink in a little bit later. But first, I want to talk about the 5 core feelings that we speak of here. And that is fear, joy, anger, sexual feelings, and sadness. And you might have seen babies and toddlers expressing freely, erupting in laughter and crying out in anger, and it's just natural. They feel it, they express it, it goes away. And this is how feelings operate best, in the free flow, the easy expression. But at some point, when we're young, this essence expression, who we are, becomes inconvenient for our caretakers. And this is where you'll see the birth of personas. Now, personas it's a big topic. You can find lots about that on the Hendricks website, but I bring it up in relation to feelings. So the personas that can develop can be those that give you positive recognition, or maybe they can be troublesome. So a positive recognition persona might be the good girl who is, oh, she's so good and sweet, never gives us any trouble, but maybe that's not really how she's feeling underneath. And maybe there's a child who is drawing with crayon all over the wall, and that would be a troublesome persona, like the rebel, that can get you into trouble. So we have these personas, and the key thing about them is that they take measurable energy to maintain this sort of mask over your essence. It takes musculature and it takes breath with the goal of containing your feelings. So not a bad idea, if you want some feeling exploration, is to look into some personas you might have. But be aware that when you begin to loosen the grip of these personas, those tamped down feelings can begin to bubble up. So you might find at some point in your life that I'm just crying all the time and I'm not a crier. What is going on? This could be part of that loosening and bubbling up. Or I'm just so angry in the last month and I don't know why. This is maybe a release of some of these tamped down feelings. And the zones of those feelings, think about your navel. This is the fear zone, where you might feel a racy, queasy, butterfly, maybe nausea feeling around the navel. That's the fear zone. The sadness zone is the throat and the upper chest. It can be a heavy feeling around loss or longing. And the anger zone, the jaw, the clenched jaw, the neck, the tight shoulders. And think about animals, they get their hackles up. Well, we are mammals and we're wired similarly. And there's a reason for that. There's evolutionary intelligence in that wiring. It's important to have access to these feelings and their expression. There's generational wisdom. There's in-the-moment intelligence, as between whether you look at this tiger and say, life or death, run, or nice kitty, let me pet you. So that is the importance of that. And you can reverse engineer knowing those zones. So maybe somebody's speaking to you and you don't realize you're angry, but you realize that you've got your hand on your shoulder or you're scratching your neck. And then you might ask yourself, do I feel angry about what's being said or listening to this person? And then maybe you realize that you do. Or, oh, you're listening to a story and you didn't realize you're sad, but because you notice that your hand is on one of those 3 zones, you might realize a feeling that you were not conscious of underneath that. So another key thing about feelings is the hose. We are like this tube of feeling, breathing, moving, and those feelings all go through the same hose. So if you think about, maybe you have trouble with one particular feeling, like, oh, I'm super spiritual. I don't feel anger. I don't express any anger. So maybe you don't have access to your anger. Well, if you don't have access to one of your feelings for whatever reason, the hose kinks, right? Thus the kink. And as you can see in this visual, if you kink the hose against one of your emotions, you kink it against all of them. And one great example of that is, there was a presidential race many years ago where John McCain was running for president. And during a debate or an interview or something, there was some topic about fear. And he clenched his jaw and he said, "I have felt fear and I'll never feel fear again." And I thought, oh my, well, first of all, sad for him, because there go all your feelings, or the full feeling and expression of them, hose kinked. And he's cutting off the intelligence of the moment, the wisdom that's available, and the full human expression that's possible, the joy of being human. So that brings us to, it reminds me of something I mention on almost every how-to, the cliff notes of all of this huge body of work, which is breathe, move, love. So think about breathing and being able to have access. If you're not fully breathing, you're kinking your hose. And you want to have the free flow of breath, to have the free flow of all these feelings. You want to have movement. You don't want to kink your body to cut off that flow. And breathe, move, love yourself where you are, love your feelings, and you can befriend your feelings. One way to do that is, imagine you're on a porch swing, you and one of these feelings that you are having difficulty accepting. Well, imagine putting your arm around yourself with your feelings and rock the swing and love yourself, love your feeling. And that is one way to befriend your feelings. So that's a bit on feelings today, feelings and the kink that you want to avoid of the hose of all feelings. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time on Hendricks How-Tos.